Do you find in business that you just struggle to understand how to make the best decisions? You've got people coming at you all the time with this, and we need to change that, we need to do this. If you want to sort of get some sanity back relating to decision making and how you run and operate your business, then check this video out. This is what this will give you: sanity. Right, so in this video, what I'm going to cover is why it's important to base your decisions on reality and information and data. You know, for the highest level of clarity in your business, when you have people coming to you with all sorts of this and that and the other, you want to know, how do you know what you need to listen to? How do you know what's true? And the best way to go about that and create some sanity and stability in your business is to use data and stats. And that's what I'm going to talk about in this video. Find out exactly how this works. And as I mentioned before, this is number 2 in the Clarity series. So if you want to kept informed, subscribe or like this video. We're kept up to date when new ones pop out. Clarity. So I'm talking about business mindset and clarity. After being in business for almost 3 decades, I've learned some things, as I'm sure we all do after you've been in business. And one of the things that I've learned is that humans are broken. We're all broken. We've all had experiences, had things that have happened to us, some good things, some bad things, people we've come across, all sorts of things, and they can set up as triggers, and they can really influence the way we look at things and the decisions we make. That's just the reality of who we are and how people operate and how people think. And when you're trying to run an organization, you might have 5 people or 10 or 15 or 20 people, and they've all got this baggage and background and history and this and that. And so you can appreciate this complexity that comes to the office. And whilst people say, personal life is personal life and business is business, we're not really that good at separating. And the reality is that things that have happened to us in our personal lives will absolutely, definitely impact on the way we think, the decisions we make, and the way we engage. So as a business owner, someone running a business, how do you sort of cut through that? How do you get back to some reality? And how do you know when something needs attention or, is right and that you're making the right decisions? The way I've sort of dealt with that so I can have the highest level of clarity in decision making is by using a statistics and a data-based approach. And people know that now when they engage with me in my business, when my team or my staff come to me and they start talking about something, they know I'm going to ask them specifically, can you show me the data on this? Because we might have a reaction or a response to something, and you could then send off a whole chain of events to look at something, but the reality is that it's not warranted. It's actually not something that should be dealt with. I'll give you a really good example of this where data can really help. A few years back, I had a franchisee in my business, one of my businesses, research, say, we've got issues with our terms and conditions. I've had a client read through them in detail, and they flagged that there's particular clauses that contradict each other and could be a problem for us. And so they've raised this and said, we need to quickly change our terms and conditions. And so look, it could make sense. It could be true. The point that he was making, there was some validity in it, the fact that there was a bit of confusion between these 2 clauses. But I wanted to sort of create some perspective for him. So I said, okay, that's interesting. So you've had this client raise this, and so now it's really urgent that we change it. He goes, yeah, it is. I said, okay. So I asked him how many inspections he'd done. And he said, at that stage, he'd done about 400 or 500 inspections. And I said, okay, so how many times has this been raised? And he said, well, it's the first time. I said, that's interesting, yeah. And then I also shared with him that in the business at that time, we'd done, I think it was about 25 or 30,000 inspections. And it's actually the first time it had been raised across all those inspections with all our other franchisees. And so you can see, and he was able to look at it and go, right. And I said, well, okay, it's been raised by that particular person, but it's been raised once out of all those sort of engagements. So then I could say, do you think it's actually a critical issue and something that we need to deal with? And then it became clear. They said, well, probably not. And so by having some data, you can sort of create perspective and be able to determine if something's actually a real issue or not. And so it's actually a great way to make decisions and to determine when something is an issue rather than when we think something is an issue. Yeah, because we're really great at thinking there's a problem, assuming something's going to happen. But what can really assist us in that is by having the data and having the information to support that. And there's an expression that I use: I don't really believe what I hear, only what I can see. So if I can see it, I can understand it. But if I hear it, it's really easy to talk about things, but it's much more difficult to actually collect information and data to support something. And so this is a data-driven approach to decision making in a business for the highest level of clarity and sanity. It just works. Trust me, it works. And so I've sort of implemented this across all my businesses, and it enables you to really think carefully about, when you're making a decision, if it's the right decision as opposed to an opinion. And of course, we all have different opinions, and whether or not they're wrong or right, we're entitled to have different opinions. But when you're running a business, you need to be making decisions based on information, based on data, and based on statistics. Otherwise, you can spend a lot of time and effort on things that actually don't matter, which is actually a real issue. So that's a thing to consider. I found it really, really helpful in the way that I've built and run and operate businesses. And I really, with my team and my staff, I really talk about that. And the way that I deal with it is when someone comes to me with something that's an issue or something we need to change or something they're concerned about, they know I'm going to raise that question. Where's the data? What are the statistics saying? They know that. And so then typically they won't come unless they've done the research themselves and got some numbers. And when they get the numbers, they may find that it actually wasn't that critical. And so it tends to resolve itself. So if you want to have an organization that can run like that and doesn't need to be, you're not getting dragged into it all the time, then what I'd really recommend is you look at how you build up your data and your statistics and your dashboard to help in keeping clarity in the business. And if you can create a culture that's based on data and statistics for decision making, you're going to have a lot more sanity, a lot more clarity, and that's going to go a long way to keeping everyone calm and enabling you to stay focused on what's important, which is a good thing in business. So that's the second part of the series in relation to the mindset, which is all about clarity. And clarity in business should be based on data and statistics. Have a go at it. Let me know what you think. Post some comments if you've had some experience in this area in your own business or in your own experiences. I'd love to hear what your own experiences are and how you might share some information. If you've got any questions, let me know. Thanks for joining me. Ciao. Thanks for listening. As you know, we grow organically. It's really people like yourself that enable us to get the word out. If you like what you hear, please give us a rating, leave a good comment, and share this with your friends. Thank you.